Mandela Day will not be a holiday, but a day devoted to service.
Nelson Mandela means a whole lot to people.
Selflessness. It's about time we rise up.
Nelson Mandela Day, I'm working with an NGO from my community.
So on Nelson Mandela Day, I'll be at the soup kitchen where I work.
Go help in a homeless shelter. That'd be nice.
It is our hope that people will dedicate their time and effort to improve the conditions within their own community.
Madiba started the change. Now it's time to play your part. Take action. Inspire change. Make every day Mandela Day.
I remember being at the Cape Sun, and I think Mr. Mandela was checked into the hotel, and they ordered something from room service, and I was working there at the time as assistant food and beverage manager. Mm-hmm. I think he spoke to me on the phone and told me exactly how he wanted these butter beans to be cooked. So at any rate, I promised him I would do it myself, but I mean, checking closely with the chef what they were doing, because it wasn't for me to get into the kitchen and cook, but I understood what he wanted. And then I thought, okay, I'm going up with this order myself. I need to meet the man behind the voice.
And behind the butter beans.
Yes, and when I got there, they wouldn't let us in. They had a way of protecting him, so I wasn't allowed to even meet him or see him. We just pushed the trolley in and left the suite.
Now, who phoned you to come and work for the presidency?
At the time there was a colleague that used to work at the hotel, and I'm not sure what the circumstances were. I think Madiba asked him to find an Indian woman.
And that was you?
And that was me.
Did he say why specifically an Indian woman?
I think because he had this passion for Indian curries and Indian food. I think even at the time that I was appointed, my job description didn't involve cooking as such. But in my interview, I was asked by Professor Jakes Calvo, would I be so kind as to cook for Madiba, although there's a chef employed. So I said, fine, I'll cook if that's what he wants. I'll do anything to do whatever I can for him. And I think the first time he came to Carnarvondale, I mean, although there was a chef, I cooked, and I think I made fish biryani.
And what did he think?
He met with Frenish and Walla for that lunch. He was absolutely over the moon with it. He enjoyed the food thoroughly.
Oh, that's lovely. Has he had a good appetite, loved food, creative and exploratory sense?
Yes, he did. But he was quite strict about, he had this general rule that he had breakfast at a certain time, and that was like 7 o'clock without fail most days. Unless he was meeting somebody earlier than that, then breakfast would be at 6:30. But otherwise, he would eat at 7 o'clock every day, his breakfast, and
healthy
breakfast. I mean, it wasn't a cooked breakfast every day. It would alternate it, but he must have fruit. In the beginning, he used to have tea and coffee, and then later on, he stopped having tea and coffee, but he would have coffee after his dinner, really, like he'll say a small cup tonight, or not a big cup, and things like that. But he ate very, very healthily. He liked his nuts and his dried fruits, his Perrier water. So it wasn't just the normal water that he drank. He drank Perrier. He liked his traditional African food as well, really, because he told me once I reminded him of his mother, and I cooked for his blood and not for his stomach.
What do you think it means?
I think it means a lot, the fact that he associated me with somebody that he loved so much. And, the fact that he spent 27 years away from anybody and having that maternal, even when you're an adult, you have a mother that you look up to, and you know that you have a mother. And when you don't have one anymore, you miss that person even more. I think from that point of view, I don't know whether it was a connection, but we got along from the first day we met, I think. I don't know what happened, but from the first time we met, we already had some sort of bond that he adopted the entire family as part of his family, and that's how personal it became. And I used to take my vacation from the presidency and actually go and spend it in Kunu.
Oh, lovely. What was that like?
It was very nice. I spent many days in Kunu. It was different. You didn't go to the butcher for meat, they just slaughtered outside.
It makes you appreciate the shelf, eh?
Yes, yeah, and, those are the kind of things that happen with Madiba, and I miss him in the fact that, yes, I know he's there, but there's not that bond and that talking and the conversations.
You've spoken about this kind of missing, that you don't have that connection, and you spoke also about that he made you feel so special. What do you miss about him?
I think I missed that relationship, myself not having a father. I mean, I called him Tata when we were around him all the time. He took the children over under his wing. There was a father figure there that I missed so much about him, and I appreciate that all the time that I had spent with him, even if it was during my holiday and going to assist wherever. I did it because I loved him so much.
How would you say he's influenced your life?
I've learned to be more forgiving, and I've learned to accept whatever comes my way, whatever hurdles are there, has been put there for a reason, and to overcome them.
What do you think is his legacy?
He's given us a lot to look forward to for the future of all the new children coming into this world. They've got something to look forward to. South Africa has changed so much since there was Madiba, and I think for that we all have to be very grateful.
Your favorite Madiba moment? And I'm sure there are many, but if I had to say this is Ella Govender's favorite Madiba moment, what would that be?
I flew with Madiba to Johannesburg or Pretoria to Waterkloof on an occasion. He had to be there officially, and I had to do something at the Pretoria residence. And somehow during the course of that engagement, his flight plan had changed, and he was departing an hour earlier, which I wasn't aware of. And whoever was flying with the presidential plane had to make sure that they got to the airport an hour before takeoff. So which I did. I got there an hour before takeoff, but they were taking off an hour before anyway.
It was a different hour.
It was a different hour, and the plane was busy taxiing off down the runway. And as it was taxiing off, I spoke to a gentleman with all his badges and whatever at the Air Force Base, and I asked if that was Madiba's plane, and he said, yes, they've just taken off. And I said, well, fine. And I was trying to scream at my driver not to leave so he could take me to Johannesburg International Airport. And in that time, I was stopped by the gentleman, and he asked me who I was. I told him who I was, and then the plane made a U-turn.
You're joking?
I'm not.
Sure.
The plane made a U-turn, and then the gentleman asked me, you told me your name, but tell me exactly whom you are. Then the plane comes and stops, and then they set the steps and the ladder and everything down. And for me, that was extraordinary. I would not have expected a president to turn a plane around to pick me up.
What did he say to you when you boarded the plane?
I apologized. I was biting my tongue because, this is the president. You don't expect a president to turn a plane around. And he said, no, he likes people to be on time. And but he asked security, where was I? Because he knew he came with me, and that's when he checked who was there at the airport. But he said if it wasn't me, he wasn't turning that plane around, but he wasn't going to leave me behind.